Hi everyone in English 2323, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 10, yeah, week 10 instructional video. So hopefully you were able to step away and find ways to disconnect from the class or other classes during spring break, even though I know many of you you still had all your other responsibilities going on, right? So may not have been a break, but hopefully just a little bit of a break, at least from the course. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into where to go and what to do for this week. So in D2L, if we jump to the content area, just a quick reminder that when it comes to the course, everything, I hope at least, everything that you need is visible and available here in the content area, right? So if you need the syllabus, the schedule, the rubrics for any assignments, if you need to revisit that information, it's right here. Everything related to student success, especially things like academic support or tech support, is here, as well as, you know, we have the D2L and tech help link. I sometimes get emails or concerns about D2L, you know, if you have trouble uploading an assignment or if D2L is acting kind of funky. I'm just not an expert when it comes to how to problem solve some of these things. My first response is always going to be, are you using Chrome and have you deleted your data, your search history, your browsing history? And that is because, number one, that's the first thing that the Office of Technology Services is going to ask. But number two, it's just a weird quirk of D2Ls. I don't really understand why it's something that needs to be done pretty frequently, but it is. So if you're encountering any of those problems, whether it's in our course or others, try that first. But know that I'm always going to say you're probably going to have to reach out to OTS, the Office of Technology Services. Often it's a really quick fix. There's just a quirk or some little setting that needs to be redone in your account, and they can do that pretty quickly via chat or over the phone, right? So you can click here to do that, but there's also all other information, whether it's about, you know, being a student in this course or in other courses, right? So we have the Virtual Learning Assistance Center, or VLAC, how to use OneDrive, videos for Google Docs, etc. So I try to put everything here. Sorry, I have a dog that's just hopping around. Let me pause for 1 second and make that stop. We'll see. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to this week, which is a pretty straightforward week, you know, upon our return. So you do have a chapter to read. It's the 20th and 21st century. So it's one of our background chapters, which we know it can be a lot. It can be a lot of information. It can be overwhelming. These are chapters that are just chocked full of information. Don't try to read everything in one sitting, right? Take some breaks, be kind to yourself, give yourself that time. But know that having that background information is just really helpful when it comes to then reading the authors from the time period, because we're moving from, sorry, I'm messing with my hair, nervousness. There's a lot going on. Now I have a cat eating, so distractions. So sorry, y'all. This is life, right? Okay, so those background chapters just have a lot of really useful information that help us get a sense. And this is, and especially, I feel like I say this every time, they're all really important chapters, right? But we're moving into much more contemporary times. So we're taking all that information that we learned about Great Britain and colonization and the after effects of that, the very lasting impacts of colonization, imperialism, slavery, all of that kind of stuff. And we will see the development of a lot of those ideas in the authors that we're reading moving forward, right? So we need to be aware, we need to keep those things in mind. So we're taking those ideas and we're going to put them to work in a discussion post this week. And you will be required to respond to 2 colleagues, and then you have a participation quiz. So pretty straightforward for the most part. You're watching what will appear here. This week's discussion, though, is a little bit different because, you know, typically it's me giving you a prompt to think about something specific or, you know, whatever the case may be, but I feel like there's a benefit to flipping that, like, why don't you think of two thoughtful and thought-provoking questions to pose to your colleagues, right? Um, when I say thoughtful and thought-provoking, I mean something that requires more than a yes or no answer, a question that pushes your colleagues to really consider the ideas within the chapter, not just something very vague and general, right? You want to kind of dig into the ideas that you're seeing about this time period. Make connections to the previous readings, make connections to the previous, Victorian era, go back to the Romantic period, push one another to think. So you want not just one question, but two, right? And so we're essentially flipping, the whole idea of the discussion post. So you're getting graded more heavily on your responses to one another because you're then engaging with, your colleagues' ideas. You're writing more in your responses to one another. You are responding to both questions posed, right? So overall, if you're breaking it down, you're responding to two colleagues, right? But overall, four questions, okay? So make sure that you're thinking about that. You should respond to both questions. You're going to want to have at least 3 sentences to answer each of those questions, right? So yes, your questions, they're not quick. They're not straightforward in terms of, did you like this chapter? Yes or no? You're pushing one another. So those questions should be thoughtful and thought-provoking, but the bulk of your writing and ideas are going to come in those responses to one another. Okay. All right. So that is the discussion post. And then you also have the quiz, which is based on the reading as well. So again, take your time with the information. Be kind to yourself when it comes to the reading so that you can work through that quiz and not feel like you have to take it several times in order to get the grade that you are hoping for. Okay. So in addition to that, I do want to note that I've gotten a lot of emails, stressed emails lately. I got a lot of stressed emails over spring break because I know that things happen in waves, right? We have these experiences throughout the semester, and I've tried to build our course so that if you miss an assignment here or there, that is not meant to derail your grade completely. It is meant to, yes, maybe have an impact for daily kinds of grades, but we still have the major grades that will ultimately, that have more weight when it comes to our grades. So that's, going to be our journal portfolio as well as our multimedia project. So those are down the line a little bit. So missing a quiz here or there or a mind map or something like that is not meant to have an overall negative impact on your grade. You also have built-in opportunities for bonus credit when it comes to some responses for discussion posts. There are bonus credit options available, right? But I know that things still happen. And so I'm trying to be in the middle of a spectrum. On one end of the spectrum are the professors who are just very strict with the schedule, are very cut and dry. There's no allowance, there's no grace period. And oftentimes those are going to be classes that have, maybe a couple of exams and a final. So that if you miss one of those, that's a really big deal, right? But I'm also not on the end of the spectrum where it's like the whole course is open all the time. You can submit whenever. There are multiple, there's so much flexibility with the submissions. I just can't operate that way because of the way my brain works and the way that I need to, at some point, shut things down and say, okay, we have to then move on. That's the way my mind works. So I'm trying to be in the middle, right? Have a little bit of flexibility. We do have the grace period. And I'm always going to be the professor that says, if you have something going on, that means that you can't submit something on any given day. We have the grace period, but also sometimes just submit something, submit anything to get more than a 0, right? I'm always going to say that, but I'm also going to say sometimes you need to do you and take care of you, and that may mean getting a 0. And there's no judgment from me about that. That's That's life. We are a course that requires more kind of weekly check-ins and weekly work than other courses. So there is some of that flexibility because we have so many points available throughout the course of the semester. That being said, I want to offer a little bit of grace on my end, as well as pushing you to have some grace for yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up some past assignments so that those of you who maybe didn't get the opportunity to submit those originally, you'll have the chance to do that now for partial credit. And those of you who maybe would like to try to earn more points, so maybe it was one of those situations where you just had to get something in and you didn't get the grade you wanted, but if you had the chance to redo it, you would. It's optional. This is not something you have to do, but this is one of those times in the semester where I'm going to say there will be a point when things shut down, where there's there are no other opportunities for bonus credit. There are no other opportunities to resubmit something. I am not going to go in and open another assignment because of X, Y, or Z. Those options will not be there because I will be at that point with my brain where things have to shut down. So I don't want you looking back and thinking, oh, I really wish I had taken this or that opportunity that Dr. E offered. So now's the time to do that, right? Even if you're sitting pretty on a grade that you feel really proud of, and you should feel proud, right? It's a lot of work. Maybe you have some time to get more points on this quiz that you only scored about half credit on, or that kind of thing. But this is also, if you've missed grades, now's the time, right? Partial credit's better than no credit. And this is not something that's just going to keep happening. This is just an opportunity that's here now, and it will be here for 2 weeks. So from Sunday, March 22nd, after 2 weeks, we're closing things down. Okay, so take advantage now. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. This is a very crazy week on my schedule. I have a lot of meetings that may actually impact my availability for office hours, but I'm here. You can hit me up on Remind, or you can send me an email and we can meet at whatever time works for you, whether it's during those office hours or at 6 p.m. or over the weekend or whatever it is that you need in order to feel comfortable moving forward in the class. Just let me know. Okay, good luck this week and let me know what I can do to assist.